想成功，先发疯，
不顾一切向前冲。
第一次富3代，
拼命才能不失败。
今天睡地板，
明天当老板。加油加油加油！
开工！
This place is desolate but strictly managed. The security guards all hail from the era of guns. A righteous-looking man stumbles out. He comes up and kicks Ake, scolding him for being too quick to violence.
老者回家，老者回家，老者回家。
The gunshots silenced everyone. Inside the entry, someone helps everyone up and begins introducing his fraud ring. The group is involved in almost all online businesses: stock trading, crypto mining, e-commerce, online gaming, and even gambling. A group of shirtless men crammed into a dingy, smoky little black room. They are responsible for chatting and purchasing as pushers. And one level up, there are technicians like Pan Sheng who tamper with programs. At the corridor's end, Akai is facing a gaunt man undergoing electroshock therapy. This is the price he pays for running away. Pan Sheng hurriedly glances, and then a luxurious door is suddenly pushed open.
精彩的来了，美女荷官在线发牌，轮盘骰盅21点，斗牛、炸金花、龙虎斗、百家乐，只有你们想不到的，没有我们做不了的。裸聊啊！
Pan Sheng is shocked by the sight in front of him. He knows working here means he's become an accomplice to the scammers. However, just as he speaks out, "I won't do it," he's greeted by a public beating, followed by a cold gun barrel pressed against his forehead. Pan Sheng has no choice but to comply, following them to a dorm hidden beneath a school. The environment is cramped but sufficiently concealed. Men who attempted escape are kept in small cages. Pan Sheng screams at the sight of a rat and is told he'll get used to it soon.
我家人找不到我的话，一定会报警的。
我们进出都是蒙着头，警察要怎么找过来？
They have precautions against newcomers wanting to escape. That is, to make you message your family immediately to report safety, ensuring compliance.
报给你妈，跟她讲几句。
Faced with the threat of having their eyes gouged out, Pan Sheng also dares not disobey. Next, the man in the cage is pulled out, beaten brutally to make an example. So the next day, the atmosphere in the compound changed like this.
想成功，先发疯，
不顾一切向前冲。
The man who tried to escape has given up resisting because manager Lu just gave him a raise. But Pan Sheng hasn't given up yet. After being scolded by pulling his ears, he pretends to work obediently for now. Through dozens of chat accounts, he sends scam links to countless phones. But when no one is watching, he secretly tears off a box lid to write a message for help, planning to throw it out the bathroom window. He climbs up only to find the windows here are actually sealed shut. Stepping down hard, he smashes a battery and crashes to the floor. At this moment, a beautiful woman walks out of a stall, picks up the paper on the floor, and gives Pan Sheng a look, telling him that any attempt to report will get him killed.
你也是被骗过来的吗？
不是啊，你来这之前不知道这是干嘛的呀？
The beautiful woman's name is Anna. She was originally signed as a model for a company, but the company found out her photos were used to advertise special services, damaging the company's image. They terminated her contract on the spot. For survival, she had no choice but to take an advertising job introduced by an agency, only to find out upon arrival that she had been deceived into joining a pornographic film crew. Anna angrily threw down her lingerie and walked away. However, the agency relentlessly demanded compensation for the venue rental.
又要立牌坊，又要做裸舉，你條黑雙筋再相轉啊！
说什么呢你？
The two started tugging at each other in the street. Anna's friend arrived just in time, paying off the agency out of her own pocket, and kindly introduced her to Akai, offering a high-paying job. Akai said they were into online gaming with a legitimate license in the area. This alleviated Anna's concerns. Coupled with the attractive pay numbers, Anna was quickly persuaded.
这工作不用看别人脸色，什么都是靠自己。女人最重要是什么？是独立。
Her friend's encouragement was like a shot of adrenaline, directly targeting Anna's newfound resolve, showing her a chance to turn her life around. But in reality, it was all a setup, exploiting women's vanity to easily trap them. And Anna was completely unaware, thinking the job was something she fought for. But once at the compound, she was completely deprived of her freedom.
你们在手机上面跟谁聊天，我都能看得见。禁止拍照、视频，禁止连公司 WiFi。
出设刷门禁，指纹双重认证才可以进出。
护照我们会替大家暂时保管的，你们做到业绩了就还给你们。
Just like that, Anna transformed into a sexy hostess, posing seductively in front of the camera while players see web pages and games custom designed by programmers with outcomes controlled by them. And Anna was totally unaware that she too was a victim of deception, until the day she left her seat due to menstrual pain and encountered Pan Sheng in the restroom.
出嚟，我先冇話俾你走啊！你出唔出嚟啊？個客等緊你啊！
我嚟啦！
Pan Sheng, worried about being discovered by AK, had no choice but to tear up the paper and throw it in the toilet. But the toilet wouldn't flush. He had to endure the disgust and fish out the pieces to swallow them. AK handed a pack of sanitary pads to Anna, then grabbed Pan Sheng and checked his entire body and mouth thoroughly before temporarily letting him go.
推贷款方内幕消息。
Reluctantly, Pan Sheng sent a loan link to someone, knowing that it could ruin someone financially, and that someone who had just lost all his savings was a young man named Xiao Tian, fresh out of his master's degree. Xiao Tian was interning and also running a fan subgroup. That day, they received an advertising order.
这什么呀？
哦，某啊，刚刚发到邮箱里的，让字幕组贴在片头5秒钟，中间只要出现3次，我们就可以赚3000块的广告费。
His girlfriend urged Xiao Tian not to accept such harmful advertising. Xiao Tian agreed on the surface, but out of curiosity, he clicked on the free trial, unexpectedly winning several rounds in a row. This gave Xiao Tian an unprecedented feeling of exhilaration. He then used his scientific mind as a science student to analyze how to bet to win more, concluding scientifically that after every loss, one should double down in the next round.
连输10把的概率也只有1/1000。
Xiao Tian was overly confident, thinking he had everything under control, unaware that the last game, with a 1 in 1,000 chance, would hit him. The naive Xiao Tian felt it was just bad luck, completely unaware of the scam behind it. Or rather, those addicted to gambling lose their rational judgment, focus solely on turning their fortunes. Upon receiving the loan link, insider information followed immediately.
你这样1赔1很难赢大的。我朋友在轮盘厅有内幕消息，包赢。我自己每周都下注，你要不要一起玩啊？
Thus, Xiao Tian took out a loan of 1 million. From then on, things spiraled out of control, even delusionally using the loan to buy his girlfriend a musical instrument. Once he received insider tips, he would make time to open his phone wherever he was. And after winning a few rounds on the roulette, the platform recommended football betting according to his interests. Xiao Tian placed bets almost without resistance, slowly losing all the money he had loaned. He even requested an advance on 3 months' salary from his internship company, sold his limited edition sneakers under the pretense of starting a business with a partner, deceived his mother out of 50,000 yuan until the day debt collectors barged into his home.
你这2天跟你借了好多钱。这是我家，
我们出去说好不好？我负责。出去说，这是我家，大哥。
The debt collectors picked up a household trade and threw it downstairs. Then they dragged Xiao Tian around to donate blood under the guise of interest-free terms, but actually extracting over 1,000 cc per day, nearly costing him his life. As Xiao Tian was forcibly stuffed into a car, his girlfriend had no choice but to inform her family to gather money urgently.
都够晒了，你还蛮应该放过我仔啊！
To prevent Xiao Tian from going online, his parents replaced his phone with an old model, but the psychological addiction was hard to break. Xiao Tian immediately pawned his car to continue betting on football and asked his girlfriend to keep a lookout. The girlfriend didn't want to agitate Xiao Tian, so she agreed verbally, but secretly canceled the bet. Little did she know, Xiao Tian actually won the race, thinking he had finally turned his fortunes. He was so thrilled he nearly turned the bar upside down.
上岸回监了，爸爸。
没下注。
你骗我是吧？怎么可能没下注？嗯？
真的，我怕你又输了，还是钱偷偷取消了。
Xiao Tian incredulously checked his phone, his mood plummeting from heaven to hell in an instant. In a fit of rage, he pushed his girlfriend to the ground, but he still didn't give up. The next day, he visited his grandmother and deceived her out of her funeral savings and jade bracelet. But when his grandmother said the money was originally meant for her grandson anyway, Xiao Tian broke down in tears and swore bitterly to win back everything he lost. The girlfriend, out of options, went to the police station and pulled aside Officer Liu, who handles anti-fraud cases, begging her to talk some sense into her boyfriend.
我们铺天盖地的做反诈宣传，你瞧瞧，这提示都印到鸡蛋上，可为什么还是有那么多人上当受骗？因为人有2颗心，一颗是贪心， 一刻是不甘心。
那这到底是赌博还是诈骗啊？
他有没有跟你提过内幕消息之类的话？
有个什么客服说能包赢，
那就是100%的以网赌为诱饵的诈骗。
The Trojan in the gambling app can access phone messages and spending habits completely. Fraudsters use this information to carry out precise scams, alternating wins and losses to manipulate the victim's emotions. This age and level of education play a major role. They aren't afraid of you winning, they're just afraid you'll stop playing. Xiaotian went mad after reading up again, threatening his own life to extort his mother for the safe's password. Even the most hardened mother can't watch her son harm himself. But once he had the money and phone, Xiaotian immediately mortgaged the house deed.
他上线了，问还有什么内幕消息？
人家说我们洗手不干了，太危险，现在转做磕泰币。
So Xiaotian mortgaged the house for $8 million and poured it all into the circle. Manager Lu, seeing a big fish hooked, immediately called Anna to release insider tips and provided an account for the transfer. But before the money was actually received, Anna needed to find a way to stall the other party. But then their eyes suddenly met, both understanding what this meant. $8 million could be a family's entire hope. But one to survive and one to get ashore, both had to grit their teeth and do it. The small store's elder son transferred, caught the attention of the anti-scam center, but he was immersed in the illusion of wallpaper growth and hung up the anti-scam call.
10分钟，快点！全部取关，10分钟啊！10分钟，10分钟，快点！
Countless pushers holding bank cards went to the brothers' branch to contribute. Large amounts of cash quickly piled up like a mountain. The money counting machine kept busy non-stop. $8 million quickly dispersed like water. Scammers in the office began praying to gods while Xiaotian was blocked by the other side 10 minutes later.
你不要再相信他了，他就是个骗子。我们认识那么久，还给我内幕消息，可是他已经把我们杀。闭嘴
！At this moment, Xiaotian finally had to accept the fact that he had been deceived. But no matter how his classmates persuaded or how his family knocked on the door, he couldn't hear them. He let everyone down, not knowing how to make up for this huge mistake. His family's constant urging became like a death knell to him. A broken jade is an irreparable wound to a family. The deceptive opportunity is a festival for scammers, a carefully woven net for the victims, trapping not only their wealth, but possibly their entire lives, or even their lives. Yet, the scammers feel no guilt. As long as they're making a fortune, everything they do is worth it.
我们赚那些傻子的钱，养活这些兄弟，养活他们背后一个个家庭，是那帮人贪，不是我们还。玩游戏，所有人拿筷子下来夹钱，能夹多少凭自己的本事，但是一个人只有一次机会。Everyone loses control in front of money. While Pan Sheng just quietly picked up a banknote, Anna completed a task of $5 million trying to get her passport back from Manager Lu, thinking she could finally go home. But Manager Lu had no intention of letting her go. He gave her two other choices, either be his woman or earn another $20 million. Anna naively asked why, forgetting the old films they've been doing, never honoring any promises to anyone. How could he be an exception? 跪下，乖嘛，快来，跪下，来，听话，听话嘛，
陆总，
谁呀？
潘生，
有事明天说。
我想通了，我们合作吧。
Pan Sheng's arrival gave Anna a chance to escape. Then he told Manager Lu he could use his skills to set his phone as the sole server terminal, to force a password explosion. 3 attempts would wipe all data. This design centralized control and facilitated the destruction of evidence. But more importantly was the latter feature. Pan Sheng knew scanning and simple tasks are all assigned to machine customer service. In the future, it could free all pushers, saving a substantial amount in labor costs. Manager Lu was moved by the proposal, allowing Pan Sheng to use a phone once. Pan Sheng took the opportunity to open the Ministry of Foreign Affairs mass texting, noted down the emergency number. Because he acted quickly, he didn't draw any attention. Back in his room, Pan Sheng immediately wrote the number on a banknote, planning to seek help while out with the group. At this point, Anna, realizing she had been deceived, finally decided to cooperate with him.
他们不管我，我找地方花点。
Going out was to take various tourist photos to continue deceiving family and friends. Of course, some were genuinely happy. Spending ill-gotten gains also came without pressure. Anna handed the banknote to a coffee shop clerk, asking him to help make a call. But the clerk hesitated to accept. Anna had to turn away, but the money fell to the ground in the hustle.
你講冇收你哋㗎？
Oh, we are together.
Fortunately, Pan Sheng acted quickly enough not to be noticed by Akai. But this rescue attempt also failed. However, Pan Sheng understood that he had to wait for the right moment and had to trade visibility for more trust. So when he was appointed as team leader by the manager, Pan Sheng's demeanor had already changed.
搏一次，
不伤害，必定才能不失败。
今天睡地板，
明天睡好玩。
Manager Liu followed the previous plan, released all the lackeys. The man who escaped was very grateful to Pan Sheng because he could finally go home. The two shook hands and said goodbye. Pan Sheng took the opportunity to slip the banknote into the man's palm, his eyes full of pleading. The man silently accepted the banknote, carrying all of Pan Sheng's hopes as he left. However, Manager Liu's words immediately shattered his hopes.
不是放了吗？
都是培训好的人，我成本很高的，哪那么容易放啊？
The car was halfway there. Akai, wanting to buy cigarettes, asked everyone for cash. The man's banknotes were searched out. Not surprisingly, the cashier at the store noticed. Soon after, the banknotes were handed to Manager Liu. The man was beaten until he was unrecognizable. Manager asked who wrote the SOS number. Akai, smelling the coffee scent on the banknote, thought of Anna's strange behavior that day. But he decided to let Anna go, did not report her to the manager. But he didn't expect Anna and Pan Sheng both stood up to confess.
他妈到底是谁呀？
这是我写的。喂，你别动他，这是我写的。
Manager Liu did not get angry. Instead, he let Akai open the door, telling anyone who wanted to leave to go now. Pan Sheng said he wanted to leave, but when he tried to rally everyone, not a single person was moved, because they had all seen the fate of those who tried to escape and knew the people holding guns had no credibility. But taking lives was a promise quickly kept. Once the time was up, the door was shut again. Pan Sheng's last-ditch courage did not make any waves. The delicate fingers immediately became bloodied. A beating was not enough. Colleagues were told to break Pan Sheng's legs. The man dared not resist, just picked up a stick and pounded fiercely until the skin split and bones showed. And the man's head had a long nail hammered into it. After painful struggling, he was shot dead. Anna, unable to bear the torment, jumped from the vehicle on the way back to the dorm, escaping into the night and crowd. She dragged her injured leg into the nearest police station.
電腦部，一直跟他一直在那邊，一直跟他一直在那邊。
The officer gave her a look, turned to make a call, and at that moment, Anna saw a chip on the officer's keychain, immediately understanding they were all in cahoots with the scam ring. Then the police station door was locked. Anna was tied up again. Akai took her to the dock, put her in a sack with rocks, and threw her into the sea. Just as she was about to lose consciousness, suddenly she was fished out again. Then a passport was thrown in front of her. Akai, whether out of conscience or a soft spot for someone he liked, decided to let Anna go. Officer Liu went to the school for an anti-scam campaign. He heard about Xiaotian's plight from a girl. He still feels very guilty to this day, thinking it was his decision not to bet on that game that caused Xiaotian to miss his chance to turn things around. However, Officer Liu told him that wasn't the case.
关键进球前后几分钟都会锁定投注，后台调整赔率，就算是赢了，博彩平台都不会兑现的。
可是他提现成功过啊。
提现的只是冻结的资金，24小时之后就会自动的返回原路径。
Such an obvious bug has yet to be discovered. It shows that gamblers usually continue gambling with the money they withdraw. And because the police have no jurisdiction abroad, the case has been very difficult to progress. But when the girls saw the photo on the flyer, she immediately recognized Anna. The police quickly traced Anna's whereabouts through the flyer's printing factory and arrested her friend who betrayed her. so when Anna returned to her home, the police were already waiting to catch her. However, because of the previous manager, Anna saw the police as scammers and ran away scared.
你是梁安娜吗？是不是梁安娜？我是显江市公安局的，我们是来帮你的。
Anna feared legal consequences, refused to admit her involvement in the scam, so Officer Liu took her to an anti-scam class. Many victims shared their experiences. Some were ordinary workers, some were housewives, some were single women, but all deeply mired in various scams. Online gambling, marriage traps, mobile phones, and the internet make scams more convenient, also tearing countless families apart. Anna remained unmoved after hearing this until she saw Xiaotian, who had become vegetative, a young man ruined by her own hands. She felt an undeniable responsibility. Listening to the girl's accusations, Anna was completely overwhelmed by guilt.
我知道你也是被骗的，现在有很多人都需要你的帮助。你见过他吗？
Once the specifics of the scam group were confirmed, anti-scam, the task force, and the local immigration office with enforcement powers prepared to organize a rescue. Officer Liu posed as a tourist to approach Akai, taking the opportunity to clone his phone. After tracking the signal, the location of the compound was quickly identified, capturing a large number of those responsible for laundering money. But Manager Liu, having received early warning, had already evacuated the main forces from the compound with the help of his protectors, while the police faced violent attacks from locals. A group of villagers armed themselves and surrounded the vehicles, even throwing Molotov cocktails into the cars. Even riot police could not control the situation. Fortunately, at this time, the Chamber of Commerce president intervened to mediate, pulled a few people out of the vehicles. From the president's words, it could be heard that scams were not only a legitimate business locally, but also a livelihood for many residents. Hence, there were countless corrupt police and government protection from top to bottom, making police work incredibly difficult. Just as the investigation was at a standstill, a friend Pan Sheng had contacted Xiao Gao, provided important clues, saying that in the messages and photos he sent to himself, he had hinted at the number 6 multiple times.
小高给我打电话，说62进制的110也是打电话的手势，一定是潘生在给我们提供线索。
The police immediately screened nearby suspicious locations, discovering a school with the address number 666 after investigation. This school threw out many bottles every day. 120 orders of takeout were all delivered to the gymnasium, clearly the scammer's hideout. But the school was not under the jurisdiction of the Chamber of Commerce president, and with children as hostages, the police could not raid the place. At a standstill, Officer Liu suddenly remembered someone.
他路过。
When Anna came, she had passed by the fingerprint scanner. The police could use his identity to enter, but how to evacuate the students and avoid triggering a fire was a problem. By staking out the takeout shop, the police discovered they always sent steam buns to one person, while everyone else ate boxed meals. And the person recently punished by the manager was officially Pan Sheng. Pan Sheng saw the note sent by the police. Ignoring his injured leg, he immediately got up and set fire to a basket of shuttlecocks, struggling to reach the fire alarm. Seconds later, the fire alarm sounded. Students exercising in the gymnasium were immediately evacuated by teachers, while police cars entered the school under the guise of fire trucks. By the time Manager Liu realized, the gymnasium had been surrounded and the access control was unlocked by Anna using her fingerprint. Seeing Anna alive, Akai realized he couldn't hide his deeds anymore. Worried about being retaliated against by Manager Liu, he decided to strike first.
进来！记住计划，把监控删掉。我不怪你，但你要救我一次。
Manager Liu ordered people to smash the computers to destroy evidence, then went to the equipment room to find Pan Sheng. But he wasn't there to silence him. Instead, he asked Pan Sheng to help smuggle his daughter out because he intended to assist the police and earn credit, hoping to reduce his sentence. Ironically, at this critical moment, the only person the manager trusted was Pan Sheng's integrity. The police quickly stormed the gymnasium. All the suspects surrendered on the spot. Pan Sheng didn't forget the mobile terminal he had set up and demanded Manager Liu hand over the phone. otherwise he wouldn't keep his promise. Reluctantly, Manager Lu threw the phone to the ground, intentionally hoping the police would attempt the password 3 times. But his intentions were seen through by Pan Sheng.
他就是让你们上钩，然后把他销毁证据。
Gunfire erupted, causing chaos. Everyone scattered and fled, but the unarmed scammers couldn't escape the heavy encirclement, ultimately subdued under the gas canister attack. Bodies were carried onto vehicles. A girl tearfully watched her father being arrested. Pan Sheng finally saw the sunlight of freedom, exchanging a distant glance with Anna, both showing a smile of relief after surviving the ordeal. All the criminals were brought to justice, and Pan Sheng, as a contributor to the case, was exempted from criminal responsibility. Although his leg was left disabled, his hands could still type code and contribute to fighting scams in his own way.
微信网络诈骗涉及金额高达几万亿，危害几百万人。
希望更多的受害者能现身说法，警示大家，也希望有线索的人能提供出来，渡人渡己。
The story of Betting Everything is far from excellent. It even has many logical issues and forced happy endings. But undeniably, its promotional value far exceeds its artistic merit. To put it plainly, it's a film made with a sense of urgency for public good. Many people watched this film and for the first time fully understood the process of telecom scams, gaining more awareness and precautions against scams. Though the ending is optimistic, the film's narrative is quite restrained. Real scam groups are far crueler than depicted in the film. They wouldn't let victims go out of sympathy, and they wouldn't just exploit women's labor value. Cross-border raids are also far more difficult than what the movie portrays. Therefore, instead of spending huge resources on punishment, people should exercise self-restraint, avoid unrealistic greed, and never let unwillingness drive them deeper into traps.